many lies, too many lies. Hey, it's too many lies, too many lies. Yo, it's too many. Hey, it's too many. Yo, it's too many. Yo, it's too many lies. Look in my eyes, they know I'm the truth. They know that. Knocking them down every time I step in the booth. We ain't gotta lie, they know we the vibe, we living in proof. It's young, conscious youth, my life a movie, I live in a spoof. Ain't no sticking around, I'm on the move, I'm checking the dudes. Yeah, it's only us two, so you know we copping that coupe. We on the roof, smoking dope, look at the view. Yeah, we used to chill on the stoop, now we out here breaking the news. It ain't shit you really could do, cause we ain't got nothing to lose. We ain't switch side with no cruise, we just stayed out of the loop. Now we out here letting it loose, every shot we took it was swoosh. Gotta get it, ain't no excuse, ain't shit left to prove. Hey, yeah, hey, it's too many lies, too many lies, too many lies. Hey, it's too many lies, too many lies, too many, too many. It's too many, hey, it's too many, yo, it's too many.
Yeah, ask them a real question, yeah, I bet it's all lies. Hey, they won't cross that line for a fact that's offsides. Hey, too much penalties when they run this back, yeah, it's fines. Hey, could have been here with us, but we do not force no vibes. Hey, she gon' try to whip and let me park it in the driveway. They just want the praise like they Yahweh. Getting so much bread, yeah, the ride way. We done already won, yeah, that's worth the ride way. But they still lying right through their teeth, and they still hiding behind many troops. They was D9, watch my every move, tell them keep fine. Leave that shit on scene, I ain't replying. Less I know you, that don't mean I'm Hollywood. That just mean I'm Hollywood. Off y'all, I probably stood on no falls, all cause. More times I probably should. I don't know nobody like this. You see how much time it took?
Yeah. Hey, it's too many lies, too many lies, too many lies. Hey, it's too many lies, too many lies, too many, too many. It's too many. Hey, it's too many. Yo, it's too many. Hey, it's too many lies. Hey, yeah, ISO, Indies, down.
All right. Okay, let me go and stop this window. Okay. One of these windows. Yeah, that one. All right. Okay. Hey, I got some sleep. I got quite a bit of sleep. I hope you did too. Oh my God. I think that was, yeah. It's like I needed the verdict or whatever to, I don't even know. I don't even know what happened, y'all. It's just, it's surreal. I don't really care for the word, but you know, it describes it best, I guess. I asked Jason, because I don't remember falling asleep. I don't remember I don't remember anything. So I was like, when did I go to sleep? He said, it was like yesterday afternoon. I was like, what? I slept till almost 12 today. So that was I got it in. And I could go back to sleep again. It's stormy here, not Chad stormy, but regular stormy here. And it has been for like quite a few days in a row. And oh, she did. Oh wow. Yeah, it's just been raining cats and dogs here, so it's always good. I love to sleep in the rain when it's not like terrifying me or anything. But anyways, I wanna go pull that up. Let me go pull that up and let's see it. I really do appreciate what Megan has to say. Okay, somewhere around here, right? Okay, let me type that in. Ooh. It's not a short though. Let's see. Let me just get to her channel. Then I can go from there. And oh, my eye. It's been watering like crazy since I woke up. So I don't know. It's been watering. I just found my allergy medicine, so I took it right before I went live. I don't see a new one. I see one that says Bombshell, Connor Family Stories. Mm. Hmm. Well, if you know which one, let me know, and that way I can pull up the right one, if you don't mind. Hey, Jean, how are you? I'm much better today. Thank you for asking. Y'all are getting pounced with weather right now too. Fancy Nancy, hey, Jolson, it's so good to see you too. Oh, yeah. Talk about stress, right? Oh my God. It's amazing how much stress there is. It's unreal. It's really unreal. Huh. It's on Mormon Stories, you think? Okay, I'll go look there. Thank you. Let me see. Mormon Stories podcast. Begin. Oop. YouTube short. Let me try that. Let me try that. Let me get over there. Oop. Okay. Y'all know the process here. It's always so fun. Okay. I think it might be this one with Natasha Helfer on the front, if I had to guess. So let me excuse me. Allergies, man. They suck really bad. Make sure I have the right aspect on. Okay, yeah. All right. So I'm assuming it's this one.
When the church does speak up and say something, they're not specific enough because they don't maybe want to step on toes or distance followers or lose tithing dollars or whatever it is. They sort of tiptoe around these things rather than addressing it head on. That's almost as harmful as not saying anything. And then by the same token, you have this other side that is, advocating for healthier bishops interviews, Sam Young, and advocating for better sexual health, Natasha Helfer, and they're publicly denounced. The church is trying to straddle this ever widening gap between people who are fundamental and think that the leadership of the church has gone astray. And then there's this other side that is advocating for healthier relationships of LGBTQ families and healthier treatment of children. And if they make a move in either direction, they're going to lose half the membership. So they don't say anything. And the thing that I think is so incredibly harmful is that both sides are harmed and benefited by their silence. When the church does speak.
Ooh, all right. Definitely. That's what I'm saying. I really do appreciate her views on this big time. But it's just nice to know, like, whenever I realize that I wasn't the only one. You know what I'm saying? Like, we come from different sides of the families. She's from Lori's side of the family, and everybody else other than Megan on the Cox side, I really don't have to say much. I understand that they are victims as well. I do. And I don't have the right to tell anybody else to grieve, how to grieve, what they can and cannot. I mean, what they can and cannot do. I mean, that's wrong. I don't want anybody else to tell me how I grieve and how they think I should grieve and or not grieve. However, it just is really whitewashed and or not even addressed usually by, their Uncle Rex, by Adam, and Megan she's just a fresh breath of air as far as I'm concerned, because she's not scared to delve into those murky waters, and that way we can find out really what's going on here. Why? How do we get here? So I really do appreciate her being, voiceive like she has been. And Heather Daybell too, for sure. I'm trying to think of, who else. But anyways, so I really don't know. It is frustrating, I have to say. Because a lot of people try to distance this from the church. They are Mormon. That's okay. That's a fact. It's a fact that they are Mormon. And I've been saying that Chad Daybell was serving a calling at the time of all these murders, okay? And that's a big thing, because obviously he or his leaders approved of, or what do I say? How do I say this? They not elected him, I guess. I don't know. They put him in this position. They elevated Chad Daybell's position to be revered. I mean, he was a ward bishop. I mean, I'm sorry, a ward clerk, which works under a bishop. And I mean, it makes me wonder, really. And so they also excommunicated, not really. They call it disfellowshipped, which I looked at the definition, right? Because it's all about how they define these things. So it baffles my mind. So, but the fact that they disfellowshipped, the church disfellowshipped Chad while he was serving a calling, elevated. And when I looked up the definition for disfellowshipped under the website, the church's website, it said that he could, re-enter or whatever. And so it's weird and it's off. Let me see if I can find the right word. Here we go again with the right words, right? This is always my problem. Kind of like they did Tim Ballard. They publicly denounced him. I feel that this happened before Tim Ballard, right? And it happened on the second day of Chad Daybell's preliminary hearing after the children were found. Okay. And it's not usual. That's the word. It's not usual for the church to make any of that public. Usually they don't. Okay. But this is where it's another problem, or just another instance, another example of how the church plays both sides. They talk out of both sides of their mouths at the same time, because they're like, oh, we don't do that. But then here they go and they do that. So it's just like, okay. And it's only, in my opinion, it's only whenever it serves them, when it distances Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow Daybell from being associated. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, they call it different things. That's what I'm saying. It's ever changing. Definitions are always changing. The football goalpost is always moving, So disfellowshipped and excommunication are kind of the same thing, but not really. So again, and I mean, although there's, Chad and Lori are all Church of the Firstborn, it's a title. It's a title within the LDS Church. Okay. And I don't know. No telling where this freaking research is going to bring me, because it has brought me so many different places, and also so many of the same places. I'm just like, okay. I wonder to what extent or degree are some of the leaders associated with. It's really interesting. It's really interesting, big time. So, but let's just play this out. If I were to never dig into anything further than what has just been shared with me, shared publicly, like East Idaho News, okay? I would just be like, oh, okay, yeah, no, they're not affiliated. Okay. Yeah, and I mean, they just want us to buy that. And I haven't. And so this also brings up an interesting, I guess, point. Whenever I've told y'all before, I'm nobody, okay? However, I am related to 3 of the victims in this case. Okay? And East Idaho News has not asked me for an interview, Okay. He's just like, doo, doo, doo. He looks way everywhere and not at me. But then I heard Megan Connor say this too, that she's not been interviewed either. She was approached, and then she said that she assumes that East Idaho News probably, found out that she was not speaking very kindly or positively about the church. And I'm just saying, okay, so I don't feel so crazy for thinking that. Just saying. But and so it sucks as well because East Idaho News has basically been the authoritative voice in this case. And I cannot respect that. I can't get behind something like that. Can't, won't, sign me off. I'm never doing it. TC says, when anyone really digs into why all these horrible crimes continue to happen and realize the escalation occurring comes down to lies being taught as truth and from a higher power in the Mormon church. Who's controlling the puppet strings, in my opinion? That's just it. That's it. There was not one during that. Okay. Y'all must be talking about something else. I think so too. Danny and Lenny, I think church enabled all these groups to rent their convention church gathering centers. The church knew what was being taught, lectured at their facilities. And this goes also for Tim Ballard, Operation Underground Railroad, which now we've learned from the trial that Joseph Murray, Chad Daybell's son-in-law, Emma Daybell Murray's husband, the Rexburg race, the Rexburg rescue race that happened the same weekend that Tylee was murdered. Coincidence? I think not. I think not. It's so interesting to me. So interesting that, okay, I was always like, and I knew about the Rexburg rescue run. For some reason, I didn't click those things together. I've had pictures of or screenshots of that I got from the Doomsday Facebook group about Joseph Murray speaking kind of like promotional on BYUI radio, okay, to someone who is a DJ for that radio station. BYUI is church owned, okay? So that's church promoted, in my opinion, in my book, okay? And here we have Joseph Murray talking about the very weekend that Tylee Ryan was murdered, not brutally murdered, dismembered, desecrated, burned in the damn fire pit, right? That Joseph Murray was chopping wood. Okay. I mean, my mind doesn't, it's like not far of a stretch to be like, was he chopping wood for his father-in-law there? Like, oh my God. So I've always known about the Firm Expo, which is put on by Rod Meldrum. Okay. Rod Meldrum, let me see how this went. Ken Krogh, let's see. Rod Meldrum introduced Ken Krogh to Tom Harrison. Visions of Glory. Okay. Oh, that's where that went. I was wondering where some makeup went. It's right there. Okay. All right. Anyways, so Rod Meldrum. I mean, I don't like the dude. Period. There's no secret. Okay. No secret there. I do not care for these people. Just the lack of empathy. They just want to distance themselves and not be attached to the very thing that they are obviously producing here. This is a product. This one, I think, just got out of hand and they're like, oh my God, but they just keep their heads down, scrub the internet, and then they rebrand and here we are. And I mean, this has been happening. David Warwick, he's an OG. Okay. He has been in with Tom Harrison. We heard his testimony in the trial of Chad Daybell. We know that. Okay. He was meeting with them, but he was also speaking on these conferences with Tom Harrison. Okay. This has been happening. Been happening. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Oh yeah, it got on my book. Damn it. And by makeup I mean base. Right. So liquid base on top of that. Oh no, not my Visions of Glory book. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I'm a mess. I am. I'm not homicidal though. Okay, so we got the Firm Foundation going on the weekend that JJ died. We have the Rexburg Rescue Run going on the weekend that Tylee was murdered. I can't help and just knowing and researching all these different events that have taken place that are put on by these folks. Okay, I can't help but think that that's the cover, and this is what they're doing undercover. If you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody that goes, because Lauren went to one. The same one Jen with True Crime Unveiled went. I mean, I don't think they're practicing dark arts, okay? So it's like a cover. It's like, hey, it's like a dog whistle even to an extent, because it's like, hey, we're having a gathering, okay? And I mean, another weird instance of this is that every time Mormon, oh wait, what's it called? Book of Mormon Evidence, aka the Firm Expo, aka the Firm Foundation, aka Rod Meldrum. Okay. Every time they for sure do conferences the same time that the church does conferences. So it's just twice a year. Okay. Twice a year. And every time at these conferences, the president / prophet gets up in front of the entire congregation and has everybody in that congregation take a white handkerchief and get up and do the Hosanna shout. And I really am just like, is that like sealing the deal? Is that like, it's really weird. Just saying. And my friend Sue Ellen let me know that yesterday, as the death sentence was imposed on Chad Daybell, they rendered that he would get the death penalty as well. There was a groundbreaking ceremony taking place in Rexburg, Idaho, for their second LDS temple. Why does such a small town need 2 temples? Crazy. I'm not into it. It's gross. It's sadistic. And anyways, that's why I don't think these people get shut down. Because I think that the First Presidency, the Quorum of the 12, the hierarchy, I think they're in on this. I really do. I really do. Oh, Hosanna, right? Look, whenever I play it, it's freaky. It really is freaky because of just what's behind it. It's gross. I hope I'm wrong, but I doubt it. It's too. I don't know. I really do think that these speaking events or whatever are like, hey guys, hey, we're gathering. Come on, come all. And again, I don't know I have a good idea about what's going on and what's being hidden underneath those. It's really gross. All right. On to Arizona. Yep. More temples, more money making. It's sad that the Mormon Church has collected all this money from their members and they build these gaudy temples that we're not even supposed to, like, according to the Bible. I think I don't have it verbatim because, I'm not a Bible scholar at all. But I mean, we're not even supposed to be building that temples are no longer necessary, that sacrifice is no longer necessary. But here we are building temples and stuff. Just whatever. It's a private club and we aren't invited unless you're a child, That's just saying that is so gross. It's so bad. Oh, it is. Thank you, Moose Girl. Yeah, it is super creepy. Have you ever seen it? I've shared it on here before, but I'm gonna go find it. I'm gonna go find it. Hosanna. And it was President Hinckley, the one I'm wanting to show y'all. HinckleY. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, okay. Let me switch my aspect real quick. Okay. Don't say it 3 times. Don't say it 3 times. Right. But just look how big the oh, wait. Let me see if it shows the congregation. Wait, this one's 1:45. Let's see.
In a moment, I shall offer the dedicatory prayer in which all of you are invited to join. Immediately at the close of the dedicatory prayer, we invite each one of you who may wish to participate to stand and join with us in the Hosanna shout. This sacred salute to the Father and the Son is given at the dedication of each of the temples. I will now demonstrate the shout.
Yeah.
Each one takes a clean white handkerchief,
Y'all got to reverse
holding it by one corner, and waves it while saying in unison, Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna to God and the Lamb. Repeated 3 times, followed by Amen, Amen, and Amen.
And so they get the whole congregation, I think.
All right, brothers and sisters,
without them
please
even
stand
knowing.
if you will.
Look at all the people. Look at these
Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna to God and the Lamb. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna to God and the Lamb. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna to God and the Lamb. Amen, Amen, and Amen.
Oh, hell. All hell just broke loose, okay? I'm disturbed by it. Disturbed. And so Jen had sent me that a long time ago, and I was just like, oh my God, it's weird. But then when I started like just thinking about how these things, how Book of Mormon evidence / Firm Foundation / Firm Expo, I got to say all the names right, / Rod Meldrum have his conferences at the same time, I'm just like, you just kind of put 2 and 2 together and you're like, oh God, could be, I don't really know. And it's really sad to like even think about these things. And I'm like, I'm twisted, I'm twisted because this can't be. And I mean, in the beginning of this, whenever I realized that, just my gut kept saying, hey, this goes all the way up. I had no way no way to tell you how, or even myself. I did not have any kind of answers at all. But my gut was saying, this goes to the top. And then I remember thinking about the chain of command, or the, where you go to report. How do you report or this to anybody with authority? So I remember saying like, okay, Rexburg Police Department. And I was like, no, can't tell them. And then I was like, FBI. And I was like, no. CIA? No. President? No. And I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. And then just as time has gone on, research, got deeper and deeper or whatever into the research. Yeah, it's bad. I don't have a motive in this. I just don't. I don't. I mean, there's a lot of reason now, for sure. I mean, 3 members of my family were murdered. And so Larry asks all the time, for what? And for what? And for what? Money, power, sex? But not just for Chad and Lori. It goes higher than that. And I can't like say that enough. They weren't the first. They're not going to be the last. You know, and I know we watched how Ruby Frankie and Jody Hildebrandt. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Cheyenne. Yes, they are. And so who testified in this case? It's crazy. It's absolutely bonkers. And I mean, I know I'm not crazy because I listen to victims. I listen to victims, you know, on the internet. I know that people are like, well, just people that are, I think, taught to be skeptical about the wrong things, you know, like I'm sure there's people that are skeptical about what I'm saying or me because I'm not speaking so positively about the church. And I mean, it's not by anyone else's doing, you know. I mean, I literally was just like, I want to see where Chad and Lori's beliefs differ. Now, if they weren't the same as the church, then I'd be like, hey, Chad and Lori's beliefs were different. I mean, I'd have a whole new tune up here. But they're not. They're not. And to learn about, you know, through Tim Ballard, all the stuff with him, you know, that's been coming out in the courts over the past, well, for a while now, but September of last year, whenever the women came forward about abuse claims, you can't, I mean, you can look away, you can do it all day long. But to me, I'm just like, and that's how. That to me was like, that's how, because Tim and Chad spoke in the same conferences, okay? And then Tim is really close with Elder Ballard. And I'm like, that's it. That's it. Allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly because I don't want to get murdered. Okay. No, they're not. I know, I do. It's just who? Who? That's where I'm at right now. That's where I've been for a long time. I contacted Adam Herbets, right? I know I can't go to Nate. I know that. So right before Lori's trial, I reached out to Adam Herbets because he was reporting on the SRA claims on David Hamblin. Again, please read everything you can about this case, David Hamblin, because it is the same. It's the same. Oh my God, it is the same. And it's this LDS Church of Satan. LDS has its own Church of Satan. Okay. So it is like a cult within a cult or whatever. I'm not here to sit there and debate that. It's a pretty culty, all of it. So, but please read everything you can and just listen to what's being said. Tom Harrison is involved in that. Also, as far as I know right now, he testified on behalf of Barbara Timothy. Barbara Timothy was married to Gordon Bowen. Gordon Bowen is that crazy alleged. Oh my God. I just wish I could speak freely here without getting targeted or putting myself, you know, I'm sure I already have a long time ago. But Gordon Bowen is known as the Punisher within this LDS Church of Satan. And I mean, they're the victims, the Hamblin daughters, detail. I mean, in graphic detail, vivid detail. It's just in so much detail. I'm like, there's so many pages of this over and over and over again. And it's like, I trust the victim. You know, I do. And I think that a lot of people are taught to discount what they're saying. And I think that's how this continues. I really do. You know, when you throw a label on it, when the system throws a label on it, that's where you get like QAnon. That's where you get satanic panic. It's a label to deter logical thinking people and to discredit that, or just be like, oh, that's just political. That's just that's satanic. What? Well, they're not worshiping Satan. Okay. I mean, it's pretty it's pretty obvious to me. No, Kay is my mom. Larry is my dad, stepdad, my dad. And my brother is JJ's biological father. Our uncle, Charles, adopted with Lori, JJ. So he technically became my cousin, but he's my only nephew. So Lori was my aunt. Oh, I know. Just to even say that, I'm just like, oh my God, that's nuts. That's sweet. Thank you, E. McCarthy. Thank you. In 2014, I had to, for my sanity, go down rabbit holes. I didn't know exactly where to start, but too much was laid in my lap, and I was at a difficult crossroad. Yes. And yes, I've been down the same. And I'm just like, what? Wow. And it's just like, how can this not be covered? What are you saying? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So just trying to learn the psychological stuff that's going on in the background, and how, the court law, there's not supposed to be a mixture of church and state. It's supposed to be separate. It's supposed to be. However, in Idaho, through my experience, it is not. Okay? It's not. But then it's crazy. It really is. It's nuts. I mean, I can say Utah too, probably. It's a theocratic society, and I think that's how these things continue to flourish, and the abusers continue to abuse. Just like with I just had it in my head. Now what was it? It'll come back. Cheyenne says, Kresha, I've been way down this rabbit hole. When I left the church and my family disowned me. It's terrible too. I hate that happens. I really do. I had to find all the truth, even the dark stuff. Yeah. Because it's the whole picture. And I mean, yes. Somebody had said earlier, I don't remember who, but somebody made a comment about, you can see the power and the money part, but you can't see the sex part. All you got to do is just stand back a little bit and look at all the trafficking that goes on with the polygamists. Okay. Sex is definitely involved. And I mean, women are basically just there to be breeders, or just make babies, even in the life after. It's just like, okay, I don't know. It is all control. It is. Yeah. It's what they do. I think it's awesome. Yeah. Not separate. Yeah. Not yet. I haven't. She did good. She is calling it all out, and I was so impressed. Oh my God, I can't wait. I can't wait to go see it. I really can't. It's nuts. It really is. I can't wait to like, I was supposed to have Mormon true crime. I had asked her, she contacted me through Facebook like she said she was going to, and so she did, and I gave her my phone number, and she was going to come on with me yesterday, but then the whole death penalty thing came out. It was pretty heavy. I'm not going to lie. Again, I didn't feel either way. I feel indifferent about it. It's not, it's not like I have any control over it. Y'all remember when Larry was just gung ho about it? And then it's like he got to thinking about it and he was just like, no, I'd rather him have life in prison. I even talked to my brother, who's JJ's biological father, who is also in prison. Okay. And so my brother's in prison and I'm just like, what do you think? What do you want? And he was like, I want him to have life in prison. So he has to think about it every day for the rest of his life. And so, I mean, that's basically, mom really didn't care either way. It's out of our hands. The state felt compelled to go after the death penalty on both. And I think that Lori, inadvertently, and I don't know if it's because the church kind of stepped in there or what. I plan on doing a deep dive into that aspect. Just all the times that the church did step in, I printed it out a long time ago. This is, yeah, if y'all can see it. Dear Brother Daybell, okay, August 9th, 2020, okay, right? And it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, August 2nd is what it says down here. Rexburg, Idaho, Henry's Fork Steak, August 9th, 2020. Dear Brother Daybell, this letter is to notify you of the decision of the membership council held for you on August 2nd, 2020, second day of his preliminary hearing. The council decision was to withdraw your membership in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for conduct contrary to the laws. How? He wasn't proven guilty in a court of law yet. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Specifically for apostasy and for promulgating teachings and doctrines contrary to those of the church. This decision means that you may not enjoy any privileges of church membership. You may not enter a temple or wear temple garments. You may not exercise the priesthood or pay tithes. You cannot pay tithing anymore. You're punished. That is so weird to me. You may not pay tithes or and offerings. When possible, you are invited to attend public church meetings and activities as long as your conduct is orderly. But you may not give a talk or lesson, offer a prayer in church settings, partake of the sacrament, lead an activity in church, serve in a church calling, or participate in the sustaining of church officers. You have the right to appeal this decision within 30 days, if so desired. An appeal should be delivered to me in writing, 3091 North 500 East. I hate their address, their directions around there. 3091 North 500 East, Rexburg, Idaho, 83440. Specifically, the alleged errors or unfairness in the procedure or decision. Specifying. Any questions regarding the decision of the council can be directed to President William J. Dalling, and they left their phone number. And it's sincerely William F. Dalling, president of the Rexburg Henry's Fork Steak. And then this one is July 14th, 2020. And this one let me see. It's kind of blurry. Okay. This one says, July 14, 2020. Dear Brother Daybell, this letter is to notify you that the stake presidency is holding a membership council in your behalf. The membership council will be held on August 2nd, 2020. So this was like after the kids were found, but before. Okay. So can't just say they spontaneously sent it out on August 2nd. Okay. It depends. It depends on where this is. Okay. Okay, so the membership council will be held on August 2nd, 2020 at 10 a.m. at the Rexburg, Idaho Stake Center, located at 1508 West 3000 North Rexburg, Idaho. This council will consider evidence of apostasy, including promulgating teachings and doctrines which are contrary to those of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You are invited to provide a written statement to the council in your behalf. You may also provide written statements from other persons who could provide relevant information. You may invite such persons to speak to the council in your behalf if approved by me in advance. Anyone who attends must be willing to comply with the respectful nature of the council, including its procedures and confidentiality. Legal counsel and supporters beyond those referred to above may not be present. Any written statements should be provided directly to me at the address noted below prior to the date of the council. If additional time is needed to provide written statements, please notify me. Any questions regarding this council can be directed to me at the following address and phone number. And it's President William J. Dowling again. So that's that. Okay, so that tells me right there that the August 2nd, what, just a knee-jerk reaction. Okay, that means that as of July 14th, it would be interesting to know when Chad Daybell's preliminary hearing was scheduled. I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. It just needs to deep dive into what happened when, and so on. And just like how Lori was in the, she was deemed incompetent, which I thought was really weird. Because to me, she wasn't like, she's crazy. Don't get me wrong. I'm right there with you. But not that kind of crazy. And it just was weird that she was, in my opinion, this is just me and my conspiratorial brain, okay? It's like, okay, she was maybe yelling a little too loudly in jail about who all was participating and or not, who all had knowledge and or didn't. And in order to quieten her down, I feel like they shipped her off to the mental health facility that, made sure she kept it in check long enough. And I think that's how the death penalty, or why the death penalty was removed, because usually they go into the mitigating factors of everything. And a lot of the, background comes to light. Supposed to. Not in Chad's case. None of that came to light. And I was just like, oh my God. Okay. It's nuts. It's crazy. She's yes, in the sense that you'd have to be nuts, in my opinion, to murder everybody in your family, especially your children. Okay. But she's not that kind of crazy. She's not like checked out, like, can't have rational thoughts, or just not know that what she was doing was not wrong. In my opinion, I really think that she knows the difference between right and wrong. And again, I think that she was just a risk, if you know what I'm saying. Again, that's just me and my conspiratorial. That's my tinfoil hat is on when it just didn't sound right. How does your mental health facilitator, or the person that's right there with you, how is she assigning you homework, right? Homework to watch your husband, Chad Daybell, which is the first day I ever went live, and I covered that hearing. It was October 5th, 2021. So Lori watched that same hearing, allegedly, according to this, and she was assigned homework. Okay. She was assigned homework, and she was to call, I think, the LDS hotline, helpline, whichever one. And how does one call the LDS helpline and get patched through directly to Daniel McConkey? Okay. That I was just like, what? And again, I didn't really know a lot of things at that time. I just started being public, I guess you could say. And I didn't really understand what was going on. And not many people, a couple touched on it about how big this was. And it's big. And in my opinion, it's like the way the church interjected itself. Okay. Because that's Curtin McConkey is the church's civil lawyers, basically. Whenever somebody calls to report abuse on the abuse helpline, for the church, which again, first glance, you're like, oh, you know, that's really cool that they do that for potential victims of the church, you know, or of abuse. Then you just peel that one layer back and you're like, oh my God, you know, oh my God, oh my God. There's that Vice story about, I mean, oh my God, to me, I was just like, what? You know, like, oh my God, I, in my conspiratorial brain again, somebody would have had to have gotten to the mental health professional, or I forget the name they use. Somebody would have had to have put that person up to assigning that homework in order for them to interfere and drive it, navigate it. Okay. So either way, it's corruption, you know, it's not like, it's just corruption in my opinion. And then again, it makes me question, if the church was not involved, there would be no need for any of this extra stuff. There would be no need for Melanie Gibb and Rob Wood to protect it. There would not be any of this. There would not be whitewashing from Nate Eaton at East Idaho News. There would be none of this. So that's where I'm just like, bullshit. Okay. Bullshit. Beach bomb. I think so too. I really do. They actually go and, I mean, I have got pictures of hierarchy, M. Russell Ballard, President Nelson, President Henry Eyring, and President Oakes, President Monson, other presidents of the church taking pictures with the Pope. Yeah, it's a thing. Yep. And so it's like this whole, again, Melanie Gibb is the one that they tell them themselves without really saying it out loud or saying it directly. You know, it's passive aggressive for sure. Okay. That's just been, I'm like, oh, okay. That's going to be for sure. I mean, Tim Ballard even, about how if you're not for us, you're against us. Okay. And if you're not for us, then you're a PDF file. Okay. No, it's just that, oh my God, you know, I don't really think that what Tim is doing, okay, OUR, and there's Tom Harrison, who's all up in that mix as well, who's supposed to be the aftercare, providing therapy for aftercare for children who are not, in my opinion, being rescued. So where are these children? Okay. They're victims, all right. Yes, they are. I believe that 1,000%. I believe that there are victims, but they're not. They would be Tim and OUR's victims, in my opinion, allegedly. Just saying. Let's see. Rombo says we need a formal hearing with Chad. Appearing shackled up, handcuffed, and all. Apparently, the Spud has some magical powers that powers keep appearing in a missionary outfit, right? I was thrown back by that. I was like, what's really happening here? Why is he sitting down? And the jury, you know, is like, all rise, jury standing up. Why is he not being made to address the jury and respect the jury? Why is he getting to sit down? That threw me for a loop. It still does. Yeah, she is saying when it suits her, for sure. She's still complicit and responsible and evil, but I believe Lori has been deteriorating for decades mentally. Yes, that's a good assessment. Protect the church at all costs. I believe the upper I'm trying to think of the word now. I can't. Hierarchy, I guess, made some phone calls. Yes, they did. I believe. Yes, she is. She's, oh my God. I heart Sandra Tanner, for real. For real. And they've done it in such a classy classy way, in my opinion, you know, because, and look, I mean, I figured this out a long time ago. Like, I'm not here to, if there's a believing Mormon who I ever crossed paths with, you know, it's not to be like, hey, you have to believe the church is true or not. Mine is just like, okay, through this experience, through everything that I've learned about, that went into the making of Chad and Lori, everything that has to do with my family's murders. Potentially my mom was on the list, you know. I mean, I'm just saying, just give it a look through this lens, you know. It's a horrible lens. It's not, it doesn't make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. Mine's not here to battle whether Joseph Smith was a true prophet or not. I'm just saying it's all bullshit, basically. Okay. And I'm just like, it's like I've learned that this is a harmful system, okay, that enslaves a lot of people. And they tangled the two ideas of God and Joseph Smith, or Jesus and Joseph Smith. And whenever a believing Mormon falls out, it goes through a faith crisis, and a lot of times they do away with both God and the church. They just dismiss both of them. And to me, that's like, okay, well, that's another way. I believe in God. I just don't believe in a particular system. You know, I don't believe I need a medium or a channel, somebody to channel that for me. I don't need a middleman. Okay. So, I mean, do I believe in Sky Daddy? No, I don't know. I just, whatever, you know, I just believe in a higher power, and I don't believe in how Catholics, Scientology, and other, and Mormonism, you know, and the Mormon church, how I don't believe that's right at all. You know, it just made me question everything. Oh, already hit that one. Yep. And that, I mean, come on. I mean, Tim Ballard has tried this tactic himself with the NDAs. Okay. Just like, what? And it works. That's the thing. So it's like, here you finally get, let's say a family, you know, finally gets, reaches a point where they can settle. And so you have to choose between justice and, I'm sure, a monetary award, or, you know, from the church to the family. You have to choose between that and you have to be silent. And that just, yeah. Yes. Yeah. And it turns out that Scientologist L. Ron Hubbard and I got to do more research into this. So Heber C. Jench, I think his name is, like, he was also, Heber C. Jench was prophet of the Mormon church. Okay. At one time. And he was also in Scientology too. So it's just like, okay, what's really going on here? It's very interesting. It's very interesting. And I mean, Tim Ballard has ties. Well, he did. Henry Kissinger just died not long ago, but he was serving on the board of directors. Tim Ballard was, I don't know, of the Afghanistan World Foundation. And you go and you look at all the people's, you know, let me go pull that up real quick. The Afghanistan. Oop. Okay. Board members. Get ready to, okay. Again, what comes along with this territory, with this kind of research, y'all, it's going to destroy, shatter your worldview. Okay. And so, trigger warning, I guess. There's no easy way. We're not going to do the Hosanna shout no more. Okay. So, I'm going to go to, let's go to here. Okay. So, Make sure. Yeah, you can see me. Or you can see this. There we go. The Afghanistan World Foundation. Actually, let me go to what they're about first. Oh, Lord. See, I'm just saying. It just goes. The Afghanistan World Foundation, AWF, origins traced to December 1979 when Sonia Nasri fled to the United States from Afghanistan during the Soviet invasion. After establishing herself, Sonia wrote an appeal to President Ronald Reagan, who invited her to the White House to discuss the Afghan-Soviet war. Initially, Sonia's activism was directed at organizing congressional testimony resulting in the arming of Commander Ahmad Massoud's Northern Alliance freedom fighters as indigenous Afghan resistance movement with Stinger missiles to resist the Soviet invasion. After the Soviet withdrawal in February in 1989, Sonia turned to the needs of her devastated country and especially the Afghan refugees, millions of whom were living in crowded camps in the countries bordering Afghanistan. Her efforts resulted in raising millions of dollars to aid the Afghan refugees and the construction of needed health facilities and services in the camps. In recognition of her charitable work for Afghan refugees, she was awarded a Peace Medal in the early 90s at the United Nations in New York. Again, I'm not going to go further than this because last time I had a takedown from Facebook, okay, which I streamed to as well. And below this picture, there's a little baby with his, he's got nubs, okay, because of these bombs that would go off, okay. And it flagged it for sexual content. I was like, oh my God, they probably think that is, and I mean, kind of does look like it, but I'm not going to go further than that right there. I'm not going to repeat that. So the board, okay, is Sonia Nasri Cole. She's the founder and president. Then you have Dr. Don't know how to say all these words. So executive director, ba-boom, right there. Dr. Henry Kissinger. And then that's their senior board of advisors. You have HE Ambassador Morton Wetland. You have HRH Prince Albert of Monaco. Robert Hill, CEO, Australian Carbon Trust. You have the late Senator Dianne Feinstein, I don't know. Senator John Kyle. And then look, board of directors, Timmy Vallow there. Alex, I don't know how to say all these names. Chairman of Spinoza Foundation, Federico Pignatelli. I don't know. Susan Sarandon. Okay. Oh my gosh, right? Then you got Kiefer Sutherland. Then you have the board of consultants. Christopher A. Cole, he's a director of Young Professionals Network. Patrick Quinn. Robert Mickelson, I guess. Director of Creative Housing Development. Robert Shapiro, legal advisor. Celebrity ambassadors. You got Al Pacino. You got Arnold Schwarzenegger. You have Benicio del Toro. Celine Dion. You've got Charlize Theron. Okay, you've got Dr. Henry Kissinger, Faith Hill, Helen Hunt, Jessica Lange, Julianne Moore, Penelope Cruz, Shaquille O'Neal, Sigourney Weaver, Steve McCurry, Tom Cruise, who just left Scientology, I think, the late Muhammad Ali, and the late Natalie Cole. I'm just like, what? How you get Tim Ballard and all that shit? Okay, so what's really going on? What do we really not know? I've found out, and I mean, I don't have like solid proof, but I've seen things like him being tied to the Ukraine. High up people like Viktor Yushchenko, like Putin. I mean, it's just like, what in the hell is really going on here? What's going on here? How does Tim Ballard, Son of Freedom, Alpha Male, right? How do we end up here? And why is this not widely known? Weird. So it's just one of those things that, like, hey, I don't even know what to make of it yet. So I don't even know how to tell you. I don't have no idea. totally continued. Yeah, totally. And I mean, I'm still in the very early understanding of MK Ultra, of what this even means, how it's this whole Melanie Gibb talked about secret society, secret combinations, and we're like, ha ha ha, laughing because we're just like, whatever, sit down, troll, but it's nuts. Oh, let me grab that link for y'all too. So you can look and dig into the site and then, yeah, let's come together as a community. That's what we've been doing anyway. So it's not time to retire now. Okay. There's too much, way too much. Yeah, I know. I'm going to post. Wait, whoa, where it is. Here it is. Yeah. Tell me not to, and then I'm going to go do it. Okay. Yeah, I know it is Pandora's box. It is. But I mean, I want to know why he's associated with this. And I mean, Henry Kissinger, I don't really know any background on him. I just know that that's not really good. That's not. Let me look him up. I know this is like a ask me anything, but hey, and you can ask me anything anytime. So let's look on Wikipedia here. A very trustworthy source. Okay, this says. Let me fix this. This says. Let me make this a little larger here, not 75%. How about? Okay, it says Henry Alfred Kissinger, May 27th, 1923, and he died November 29th, 2023, was an American diplomat and political scientist who served as the United States Secretary of State from 1973 to 1977 and National Security Advisor from 1969 to 1975 in the presidential administrations of Richard Nixon, Watergate, and Gerald Ford. Now, there is an LDS president shaking hands with Gerald Ford. I shared it the other day, but I didn't know who was who. So, born in Germany. Okay. Kissinger immigrated to the United States in 1938 as a Jewish refugee fleeing Nazi persecution. He served in the U.S. Army during World War II and after the war was educated at Harvard University, where he excelled academically. He later became a professor of government, okay, at the university, and earned an international reputation as an expert on nuclear weapons and foreign policy. No wonder people are like, hey, I think this ties to Iran-Contra, Tim Ballard, allegedly. Okay. I don't even know what that means. I just know that it's not good. He acted as a consultant to government agencies, think tanks, and the presidential campaigns of Nelson Rockefeller and Nixon. Can't be good. Before being appointed as National Security Advisor and later Secretary of State by President Nixon. And so we already have had Tim Ballard be appointed as an advisor for Trump. Anyway, I'm not political, so I'm just whatever. I'm just here following shitty people. Personal details. It says Heinz Alfred Kissinger. Bavaria, Germany, y'all. That's where Mike Stroud went on one of his missions as an adult. Him and Margie, his wife. I'm just saying. That's where the whole word Hiplos, when you look it up, Hiplos, when you look it up, I had Martian Planet Art, one of my subscribers, had sent me an email on this. And this is the only place you can find Hiplos, a meaning for it. It's from, and I don't even know if I'm saying it right, Cebu, the Philippines. And it means to turn loose. So for what it's worth, to turn loose. You know how they talk about binding and in the bippity boppity boo language that they use, Chad and Lori and friends. This is where it comes from. So anyways, it's nuts. An advocate of a pragmatic approach to geopolitics known as realpolitik. which is the approach of conducting diplomatic or political policies based primarily on considerations of given circumstances and factors, rather than strictly following ideological, moral, or ethical premises. In this respect, it shares aspects of its philosophical approach with those of realism and I can't see past there. Okay, but just a little more. Kissinger pioneered the policy of, I don't know how to say this, detente? I don't know. Is the relaxation of strained relations, especially political ones, through verbal communication. The diplomacy term originates from around 1912 when France and Germany tried unsuccessfully to reduce tensions. Oh, and this is part of this too, this whole coup thing. I don't know. Again, I uploaded the video earlier of Janet Russin, Tim Ballard's alleged psychic. And I'm kind of ever since Chad and Lori's jailhouse call, the coded message, the coded language, the coded speak, and they were speaking visions of glory. Okay. Straight up out. I mean, straight out the gate, they were reading, hold on, I just turned to a page and it said blessing. I'm like, what? Because again, I really do think that, I mean, this is just me reaching really far. I'm really, my arms hurt. That's how bad I'm reaching. So just know that. Okay. I really think that perhaps Janet Russin could be, allegedly, everything in this video is alleged. Okay. It's not proven. It's not fact. But it appears to be, and it makes a whole lot more sense if, let's say, Janet Russin is the go-between between, let's say, President M. Russell Ballard when he was alive and Tim Ballard, or even higher than that. Let's just say it's from the first presidency. It's from the hierarchy of the church. Let's just say that. Let's just hypothetically go there. What if she is actually like telling, or how can you say this? The go-between. What if she's telling Tim Ballard what to do from higher up? Like who to appoint as COO, who to appoint in what positions and where. I mean, we were already what if through Tom Harrison and Ken Krogh, what if these priesthood blessings are just directional from higher up? And I think that, one of the reasons of doing this would be it's mixing church and state. It's mixing where it can come off to anybody that's unsuspecting. I mean, could be. I'm just saying, unsuspecting of this to even happen. We hear it and we're like, what the hell? Weird, right? But if you just look at it as if, okay, what if she's just telling Tim how to run his company that we all know now that President M. Russell Ballard helped create and invested in, him and at least 3 other Mormon apostles. And I mean, in 2017, there was a meeting, kind of like the whiteboard meeting of Tim Ballard, okay, where all 12 showed up and President Nelson declined. It's just kind of weird. Was it 2017? I'll have to go back and check. Again, all hypothetical scenarios. So what if I've got to go back and listen to all of all the conversations that that came out about Melanie Pulaski, Ian Pulaski, Zelema Pastinas, Alex Cox, Lori and Chad Daybell, to go back and listen to those and see really what they were saying, I mean, I'm just saying it's coded language. And I mean, like this, there's that whole thing about visions of glory, how Chad and Lori were talking in visions of glory, and how they were so about Malachite, all their little symbolism. Okay. Again, this is what they believe. This is not what I believe. But I'm just going where this is leading me. And so I found yesterday, actually, right before the death penalty was, you know, whatever. I don't even know what to call it. Whenever the jury decided on the death penalty for Chad Daybell, right before I came on, I just so happened I saw the book. Okay, I hadn't seen it in a minute. It's been right up there, and I was like, well, I haven't opened that in a minute. And so I opened it, and I swear to God, it says, okay, you know how Chad and Lori were all about Tuesdays? They were all about green and malachite and the tip of the spear, and I mean, just all these weird things. Okay. And so what caught my attention, I'm going to read a little bit, and it's on page 78 in the book Visions of Glory. Okay. And it says the blue handle represented the royal bloodline. And I was like, that's why they got hooked up in the temple. That's had to have been Jason Mao and Melanie Gibbs doing. Okay. And I mean, again, not on their own. I believe they are, I think, recruited or appointed to look for, and I'm going to use the phrase, quote, like-minded people, unquote. Okay. Serena Sharp, like-minded people, I mean, it was all about Jason Mao, and that's this weird thing I think that we're missing. I really do. I hope I'm wrong, but it is just interesting. Okay, so the blue handle represented the royal bloodline, which I immediately knew was the Latter-day priesthood. We also have heard it called the, quote, holy priesthood after the order of the Son of God, unquote. The blue represented three things. First, the receipt and righteous magnification of the present priesthood. Second, it represented the receipt of the fullness, spelled with one L. It makes a difference, of the same priesthood when worthiness and the timetable of God called it forth. The fullness thing, that the 1L versus 2L things, I think the 1L represents Church of the Firstborn, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, third, it represented a foreordination. That, I mean, Mike Stroud is where I think of, okay? And now Tom Harrison. The emerald, okay, let me find it again. Okay. Third, it represented a foreordination to this very mission to release these people. Only that specifically ordained officer of the priesthood could manipulate the key. The handle is how it is gripped, wink, wink, and operated. The emerald green tip represented a renewal and recreation of life. I think this is where they get their missions and what to do on their missions. I don't know. I don't know. Again, it's just interesting. Okay, the tip is the, quote, business end of the key. Okay, it enters the lock first, so it may be the first to go in, like front line, second line. I don't know how that goes, and it must be perfectly aligned with the lock in order for any other part of the key to operate. The green tip signified the full outcome of the red and the blue, sacrifice and priesthood, which, as described in the oath, that's a capital letter, and covenant, capital letter and capitalized, of the priesthood, brings about a renewal of the body. Okay. This is why the green tip was entitled, quote, renewal and recreation of life. And if y'all don't remember how in, I want to say Lori's Shmuel song, Alleluia, to Alex, she talked about Chad Daybell's book, The Renewed Earth. Chad Daybell has also referenced the renewed earth, I think, in his priesthood blessing to Alex. This renewal can represent anything from prolonged mortal life to a healing. That's another thing. Chad and Lori's department, I don't really know what to call it. Their group was over healing and music, if you don't remember. Okay. This renewal can represent anything, okay, from a prolonged mortal life to a healing of all disease to being translated, a translated being, okay? as was John the Beloved and those in Enoch's city. It also represented the renewal that these individuals would pass through, okay, as they accepted Christ as their Savior and no longer were afraid of him, and those who represented him. They must accept the ordinances of the gospel, okay, come to an agreement, right, which would allow each of them to be renewed, translated into an immortal being, and eventually set free from their present self-imposed imprisonment. Kids, husbands, wives, cut ties, right? The key in my vision is representative of the key all Latter-day builders of Zion will obtain for their specific mission. Each individual will probably not see an actual key being handed to him, but he will go through the same process that was shown to me of sacrifice, priesthood, and renewal. It took me many years, until just recently, in fact, to fully identify the meaning of the parts of the key. Even knowing what the angel showed and taught me, it has taken my soul a long time to realize how it could actually come to pass for me to make me into a builder of Zion. I have come to understand that in order to complete my life's mission, I had to receive this key in the ordained way by becoming a member of the, quote, fellowship of the suffering of Christ, unquote, and by doing it freely, willingly, and even joyfully. I now understand that it is a personal journey of great consequence. It is not a pathway for seekers of comfort and casual service. I did not realize I was even upon this path, or that my suffering was a part of any path other than a process of my life. Nor had I even considered that I was one of those whose premortal calling included any unique service until the angel handed me that key. This key represented the full course and calling of the priesthood, which Chad had. Only with all three of these elements can we claim the blessings and the honor of serving in any great cause. And this is the great cause, right? The noble cause, they say. When we do this, we are no longer serving the church, our families, or even ourselves. We are serving Jesus Christ directly and doing the Father's work of preparing the world for the end of time, second coming of Jesus Christ, and the return of Christ. Along with all this information came the confirmation what I was seeing was not real, but a metaphor to teach me why I was going through the hardships and suffering that have been such a big part of the mortal journey. Okay, again, I mean, I can go on and on. I'm not saying go buy it, but I mean, oh yeah, I forgot down here where it says that he was, and this is what they're doing. This is what they're damn doing. And this is a mighty work. Another one of Melanie Gibbs' keywords or buzzwords. Hector Sosa as well. In this mighty work, we will free people from their self-imposed prisons, whether real or figurative, and bring them to Zion. They're gathering up the 144 damn thousand. Okay. Okay. And then the key did not represent a call to preside or to be, let me try that again. The key did not represent a call to preside, no cult leader. Okay. Or to be a Latter-day Prophet. Again, not being a cult leader. It represented the process of acquiring through the atonement or at-one-ment of Christ the degree of personal purity and sanctification that qualifies the recipient to serve in this great work. And there's no kids allowed in this great work. I'll promise you that. It is a work that you'll see in the future visions I will describe. It's fully organized and carried out by the Latter-day Church. Bam. Okay, that makes more sense to me. All right. I have lost my spot. There it is. This is not a path that leads outside of the church. Okay. It's a title. Or even on a parallel course with the church, but one that brings you into the heart of the ordained mission of the Latter-day Church to prepare the world for the return of Christ. New World Order. The only additional meaning I gained was to show me that I actually could accomplish this, that it really was possible, and that I should be seeking to complete my qualifications and then finish the work the Lord was showing me was mine to do. I should continue to accept that the process of my life was not taking me to physical death, but to the possibility of grand service in the latter-day scene. I felt this admonition enter my soul without words being spoken. Quote, Spencer, Tom, you are out of your body, but you are not dead. Don't give up because these things need to be sealed in your heart and mind. These are the things you promised me you would do, so don't give up. I am giving you this information to bolster your courage to go forward and strive to accomplish these things. Don't be discouraged about going back into your body. Your body will not hinder you from your preparations. It was necessary to bring you here to give you a significant glimpse of the work you will do and prepare you for what it will cost you to qualify to do it, unquote. He's astral traveling, okay? Astral projecting, whatever the hell. This information entered my soul rich with love and empathy, but also with deep power. I knew it was not my angel escort speaking to me. I was just beginning to understand, standing there with this heavy key in my hands, when the angel said, quote, what do you see now? Then he goes into like this whole tunnel of light where, just like Julie Rowe has said in podcasts, that there's the portal. As soon as we entered the tunnel or the portal, I felt less mortal, more empowered and divine. I could speak to my guide verbally or by thought. And he answered me just by thought. We discovered many things as we proceeded through the tunnel. Every question I thought about, I saw that event or thing in perfect detail, including its creation, existence, and present glory. It was similar to when I walked through the desk and leather couch in my first experience. This information just entered my mind in bursts of understanding. I did not have to ponder or sort it out. I simply received the answers to my questions. My memory of this experience today is that we spoke of many things and that I learned rapidly. I was not allowed to retain in my mortal mind most of what I learned. Then he goes into folding the universe, which reminds me of Chad Daybell said, folding it like a pocket. And Lori, through Ian Pulowski, had said, that's where we got the whole folding and sitting to Antarctica, like a Satan taco, folding it in half like a Satan taco or whatever the hell. Okay. And so that's pages 78, 79, 80, and almost 81. Okay. So, I mean, it's just like, we know that through Lauren, Hidden True Crime, on when she appeared on Mormon Stories podcast with Megan and Mindy Caldwell about, exposing visions of glory here. She talked about how she's had like 3 different sources come to her. One from on the Daybell side, one on Tom Harrison's side, also saying that Julie Rowe and Chad used to meet Tom Harrison in his office in Salt Lake City. And so this is who I know as Portal Guy. Okay. Who the hell's Portal Guy, right? Who the hell's Portal? Tom Harrison's Portal Guy. Okay. So what is Tom Harrison? A therapist. What's he doing teaching Chad how to portal, and how come people end up dead and stuff, And how come Tom Harrison was, he had Jody Hildebrand for Eternal Core. And then look at her. Look what happened there. Okay. Then you have him all up in the mix with David Hamblin. Okay. Testifying on behalf of Barbara Timothy, who divorced Gordon Bowen, who has the same last name as M. Russell Ballard's wife, who died, Bowen. And then there's M. Russell Ballard, and then there's Timmy Ballard. And I'm just like, how are they? What is really going on here? Anyways, weird. And there's something more there. So there are programs. Okay. We learned through Janet Russin, the alleged expose by Glenn Beck during last year. Okay. I'm not paying for the damn article, just not doing it. Okay. Glenn Beck has his own interest in this. Okay. He's going to be spinning it. He's going to give it a little bit of truth and then there's going to spin the rest. It's all to deter from what's really going on. Okay. Know that. Allegedly. I'm just going to say allegedly. So, but they had wrote a big article on psychics. Okay. And like how the CIA used psychics. And so there's even a link on that write-up from Glenn Beck or Blaze Media. And you click on it and it says CIA.gov, okay? And it's to this program that they had that they say they're not doing anymore. And I just beg to differ because that seems to be what's being covered up here, in my opinion. So that would be the intelligence agency that is at the core of this. So I think that maybe Tim might be in this program as well, Chad Daybell in the program, where they allegedly astral project. I don't know what that looks like. I can only imagine, and it freaks me out. Okay, and they teleport. They like have to have a mark or whatever. And there's all this research into this, but they're like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. So it's been debunked. Has it? Has it been debunked? I'm just asking for all of my friends here. So again, it makes me sound crazy. It makes me feel crazy. It really does. But here we are. I see y'all now. I travel with the speed of light. Right? It sounds crazy, but if you read Program to Kill, y'all, I'm just like, okay. It's just like what has been said in the temple, in my opinion, what has been said to activate Lori? What has been said to activate Chad? What has been said? Anyways, it goes so far deep. Remote viewing. There you go. Yep. That's what it is. Oh, did I say? Yeah, I didn't say remote viewing. I said astral projection, astral travel, portaling. I mean, it's all those things. It's weird. It's so weird. I don't think they ever stopped. I really don't. I think they just tell us that, but then I'll be shut down within a week. I mean, just, it's weird. It's weird. Esalen, yes, the Salem Institute. It is a rabbit hole. It's a bizarre religious rabbit hole. But again, it's a good cover, you know. It's a good cover. Just saying. So it's so weird to talk about though, because I don't know, as a whole different world for me. I'm just like, what? I didn't know that existed, or does it? Or are we just so dumbed down, you know, because maybe we all have this ability, but if the cat was out of the bag, then holy shit, there wouldn't, you know, ruh-roh. I think they'd all have to watch out. So I think that maybe we've been lied to for a very long time. But it gives credence to this whole secret society idea, this whole Gaddy and Robert bullshit that freaking Melanie Gibb was talking about and warning everybody against. And whatever they're warning against, I'm like, so that's what you're doing? Okay, thanks. That's what you're doing. It's happening, right? It's crazy. Yes. And we're going to go over that. I got to have time to put it all together with Janet Russin, with Julie Rowe right here. Okay. With Chad Daybell's priesthood blessings, with Tim Ballard's priesthood blessings from Ken Krogh and Tom Harrison. Okay. And I'm telling you, there's something bigger here at play, and we ain't stupid. Okay. We're not. Yes, they are collapsing. Yeah, I agree with that. And it's so crazy. It's crazy. And it also explains the emboldenment of these perps, right? David Hamlin, Jody Hildebrandt, Ruby Frankie, and Chad and Tim. and Julie. And I'm like, why the 50? Chad, all Chad needed was a damn 501c3, right? And we were right there. Maybe we hadn't gotten there yet. Assailant CIA Institute. But if they charge you with it, okay, this is where my thinking is. Because I'm like, wait, how do they do that? Because same thing with Lori, too. They have to charge you with it. So, I mean, if you spend it, you spend it, you know. But they are asking for restitution for Chad. And I'm like, okay, $300,000 for one of the insurance companies, and the Ballard one is 130, or Life Map it's called, I think. Anyways, it's, yeah, I just don't like how they didn't cuff his ass, okay? Just like they did that with they cuffed Alex Murdaugh or whatever, right? Where am I? Again, I've only had I slept from yesterday afternoon till almost noon today, so I slept my ass off and I needed it. So yeah, get that tax deduction, keep the noses out, right? And that's what Julie Rhodes was doing, and her whole thing was soul trafficking. What the hell is that? And I mean, she worked with Tim Ballard. Then you got Joseph Murray putting on a whole OUR event. Well, that's Chad Daybell's freaking son-in-law. And that happened the same weekend Tylee was murdered. And I think it was like a, hey boys, you know, come on over. And I mean, again, I don't ever for 1 minute think it was just Chad, Alex, and Dan Lori. Not for 1 second. No, these are sacrifices. Sacrifices were made. That's their down payment. Remember? That's their down payment. Whatever. So, Mr. P Pants. My Mr. P Pants theory. I don't know. Is it up here or did you text it to me? Yeah. Oh, the one you text me? Yeah. Yeah. You do? Oh, good. I don't feel so. It's so hard to talk about this stuff. Nobody in my family, nobody in any families are talking about this shit. It's nuts. But it makes sense. And it makes a lot of sense as to why the information or the limited information also. It's protecting somebody. Interested parties, perhaps. And I think that maybe the church is just one of the programs, you know? I mean, it is the CIA and the FBI's favorite place to recruit from. So, I mean, to me, it makes all the sense in the world. Oh, wow. Don Will's mother was LDS? Interesting. I wonder if Chad wrote what Janet Russin proofread for LDS. I don't know. It's interesting, though. The down payment is what brought me here. I understand now, right? It's nuts. So it's like, I got to go back and listen to all these things. We need to go back and listen and just try to decode it as best we can. Then, you know, we also have Arizona coming up. So we're halfway there. Living on a prayer, right? Anyways. Cheyenne, that's what I think they did to Summer Wells at the age she could, and blonde hair, blue eyes. Okay. It's a thing. Tim Ballard actually in this. Okay. I got to think. It's either Fox 13 News article or it's an article that was in the Salt Lake Tribune. Either way, I remember I took snapshots from it, and it's how Tim Ballard had this whole club, and it was called MWBE, which was Mormon Women with Blue Eyes. And it's a club, straight up, Tim Ballard. Then that whole Tim Ballard what do you call it? Boneyard, graveyard, Tim Ballard graveyard. Again, I don't know. I wish Nuanceau would call me. I can sense even how Nuanceau, she's ex-Mormon creator, And I mean, she's on to the Tim Ballard stuff too. I'm not in competition to tell it, she can have that. I just want to connect this, like I think it does to my family. And it very much does. So, but I mean, I can tell in her anxieties, even on Cults to Consciousness, where Nuanto goes on as a guest, and she's really good at spilling the Mormon angle, given the history, and how it's kind of like Tim Ballard thinks he's some reincarnated Joseph Smith, okay, basically. And how, and I can just sense it in her. She's like, this is big. This is so big, and I'm probably not going to be here, because you're just like, oh my God, it's so big. And whistleblowers usually get silenced, right? Just saying. Whistleblowers get silenced. So, anyways. Oh, I know the sweet sickness of eugenics and the master race. Oh, I was thinking of Eurythmics. I'm sorry. I was thinking about Chad and Lori saying solo and cholo, and then he's like, I'm like, what really is happening here? Can't remember who or how, but Lori was sexualized at an early age. I think it was something said by a cousin. I think so too. It could have been Megan. I'm not sure. And just how we think back of how it's been portrayed or put out there by Alex Cox, his first wife, Debbie, the sexualized acting with one another. Again, Barry and I don't know if Janice was too, but they were temple workers. Tom Harrison is a temple ordinance worker, and he reports to the church, okay, directly. Okay. He's like, he would be the handler, I would say, if you ask me. The reprogrammer, the psychiatrist, he's renowned. He's all up in these Mormon psychological communities, and he's well revered and well respected, and people will cut you, okay, straight up. And they're like, Tom Harrison is great, and I'm like, that's awesome, but he's not. I don't think so. And I mean, to me, my eyes are like, what? My eyes are huge. Yeah. Actually, I did, but I don't remember it. I slept under the same roof as Janice, Barry. I don't think Adam was there. And I don't think Alex was there. I don't remember if Summer was there. I've been trying to remember that. I'm just like, doesn't stand out to me, but I'm like, oh my God. Because like every time Lori would go to, like, it was to bring our families together. And, Uncle Charles and Lori got married in Vegas, right, on their own. Nobody went. And then this was after that. So it was in 2006. We went to this, I'm just going to refer to it as it was referred to me. It was a $10 million ranch in Austin, Texas. Okay. So it was this, and it was a friend of my Uncle Charles's or whatever. But the guest house that we stayed in, I was just like, well, this is my dream home. And they were building a bigger house on the top of the hill. And there was horse riding, there was four-wheelers, there was all these things. And I just remember, again, I don't really know. I mean, I was an adult when this happened. Tylee was 3. My daughter was just born. Zach, my son, was there was this little, what do you call it? Where they would park the side-by-sides. There was like kind of like the cozy cone. Okay. I feel so grossed out by that. It wasn't a cozy cone, but it was like an addition. It was above where the side by sides were. And it was like this, it was really neat because it was really decked out for kids. It was like all the game stations were there. So all our boys were out there, and they were just like, woohoo, And like the bunk beds were made out of this bark, I mean, just like real tree bark. It was like real tree beds. I don't know. Interesting. It was a bunch of bunk beds and stuff. So, but I mean, we never did see them. They were just, I mean, living it up. Okay. And in the guest house, which again, there was a big house being built up on the hill. And I mean, I just remember that every time Lori would go walk, she was very extreme, I guess, as far as her, as far as exercise and stuff, right? So there's a huge indicator to me right there that I didn't notice then. She was extreme about exercising, even, but that her mom and dad, like ducks in a row, they would follow her, and so they would, when she would go walk, they would all three go walk basically. And it was like 2 or 3 times in a day. And I was like, geez, okay. I'm just gonna sit here and eat the food, and I'm gonna drink a damn beer. That's what I would drink. So anyways, and it always just felt, how Lori and Chad, they look down, they raise their nose like they're just righteous as all get out. Her whole family does that. So I'm like, okay. All I can see is all their boogers. The more they look up and are snooty, the more boogers we can see straight up. And it did start, yes. And so that, okay, know how recently we've just started diving into the aspects of Melanie Boudreau Pulaski. Okay. We're going to continue that and we're going to go back to these papers, these documents that came from Steve Cope in his divorce proceedings or whatever with Stacy Cox Cope, Melanie Boudreau Pulaski's mother, who died early when she was young. And I mean, I just really think with all that history, it just really will give us and it's been told before, it's been shared before, but we haven't done this as a community. So for what it's worth, I think it's worth it for sure. I think it's worth it for sure. Boy, they've been getting a lot of views too. I'm like, good Lord. All right. Holy shit. Yeah. Again, I don't get to tell them how to grieve, but it doesn't mean I have to go along with the narrative. That's not my family. So just saying. Yes. Yeah. That no humbleness, none. And I see it the same, I try. I don't know. It's strange. Just the whole summer thing. I'm just like, boy, she's got some balls right now. Woo! But she's gonna be, just watch. I mean, she's in CrimeCon. If it hadn't come out already, she's at CrimeCon right now. Nate Eaton is extending her a platform, and it's because she does not talk bad about the church, in my opinion. You heard it here first. Okay. And I mean, I don't want a following. I just want this to be heard. I just want people to at least be given here's the information, do with what you will, I don't know where this goes. I've been like that the whole time. I don't know where this goes. We do research together. That's what we do. Y'all allow me a space where I can talk it out loud, because when I talk it out loud, I process and I'm like, oh, wait, no, that sounds stupid. Like, but if it just is bouncing around in my head, I'm like, well, that's plausible. And then I say it out loud. I'm like, yeah, no, no. So you guys have kept me from going crazy straight up, or imploding with anger straight up. No, we haven't heard the last from the Cox family. And so again, it's going to be selective. It's going to be whitewashed. It's going to be distancing, because what we're doing is not what they're doing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It is great therapy. And I mean, just the whole, okay, so I'm thinking, I remember, and I can't confirm or deny this either way. I can't corroborate this right now because I got to go back to source, right? And I don't remember what it was. But Melanie Pulaski had went through some kind of, was it Air Force? You know, I can't think, like boot camp or something. And Uncle Rex, he was in Air Force. I'm just saying, I'll look for the military connections now too, because it's important. Oh God. Salem is the place that helped make the first president for Russia once old Soviet broke. And also David Levitt and what's her name? Shalom Levitt. Interesting. It's so weird. It's so weird. Yeah, I know. I know. I feel guilty. I'm just like, I have it, but I mean, I don't know everything. I really am humbled that you're just here right now, even to listen to me for free. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting, really. But you know what's crazy is like they get a lot of following. But I don't know why. I'm just like, people can't see through this bullshit. I mean, really? Anyways, it blows my mind. Lots of money changing hands here, yeah. I do too. I love them too. And I miss y'all already, and it's just been a day. I'm probably going to be like, oh my God, we're going to be doing the detox, right? Until the next live. So I'm sure I'll try and plan one maybe Wednesday. And then we can kind of just gradually break it down. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Want to know who the owner is of East Idaho News? Ready? Frank Vandersloot. Okay. Gotta go. Oh, thank you, L Bug. Love and prayers and watching you won't stop because the Chad trial ended. We love you, Kresha. Thank you. I love you too. I really do. I gotta wean myself too. It sucks. That's really what I was more. Honestly, this is really more what I was like. What now? Like what? How's this look on the other side of this? And this has just been a great place that has, this community has built up over such tragic, unnecessary tragedies. And that humble, that's so awesome. That makes me feel so good because that's what brought us together. And the fact that this goes so much higher than Chad and Lori, it's alarming. And we've already been through 2 trials. I still have more questions than I have answers. I have a lot more answers, questions answered, but there's still just this weirdness. The things that were avoided, the things that weren't even talked about. I understand that prosecution's, whole point of their whole job is to nail a conviction. That is it. And it's not just to get the whole truth for us, So I do understand that. However, it's just really, some things just really don't sit right with me as far as like just the whole Keith Morrison thing and the whole the church. I'm sorry, Keith Morrison thing, and like how Nate Eaton, he got tips or whatever to be in to be in Hawaii, where Chad and Lori were, and nobody else knew, Anyways, and to know that Frank Vandersloot owns East Idaho News, he's a Secret Santa. Sorry, he is, and so he's like he's like the richest billionaire in the state of Idaho. He lives in Southeast Idaho. And I shared before, Adam Steed, who, was on Mormon Stories podcast as well as Hidden True Crime, but on Mormon Stories podcast, which the episode was taken down. Okay. Because John DeLynn, somebody's lawyers, I think it was his ex-wife's, not John DeLynn, but Adam Steed's ex-wife or something, that ordered them to take down the episode. And I mean, I think it's still up, but you just kind of have to have a link for it. It's private, I guess. And then there's another channel that actually has the entire episode on there. So that's awesome. But Adam Steed is talking about how he was, a whistleblower for the Boy Scouts of America, which Chad Daybell was a Boy Scout, first off. Okay. So was Christopher Perrett, whatever you want to say. And then, oh yeah, the letters the church sent out to its members about not getting involved with any, wink, wink investigations, because whether intentional or not, you could implicate the church and yourself. And it's a policy that the church has had since 2010. That is straight up jacking with the jury pool. That is obstruction of justice in my mind, in the way I see it. I'm just like, So why? You know what I'm saying? Why? But it also answers a lot of my questions. Just a lot of, like Megan said, the whole silence, it's a choice. It is a decision as well. And whenever you choose to be quiet, your silence, it's not only deafening, but it's also enabling, it's allowing this to continue. So Bender Salute makes all the sense. Cha-ching, dollar, dollar, make you holla, and eating is a good Mormon, right? Yeah. Yeah. It's very hard. And then again, they're authoritative, right? The go-to. I appreciate what Justin Lum has done. He's not in the church. Okay. That right there. I'm like, all right, you got me. No. Did you hear about the barbecue story with it? Which one is it on? If you don't mind. Well, hello. Palatka? I don't know how to say it. I'm going to butcher it. Well, hello from Lake Charles, Louisiana, right? Oh, Lord. Rombo. Bippity boppity, huh? And yeah, yes. And it's so many gatekeepers. Okay. It is. And my whole mission is not to disparage the church. Mine is just to be like, what happened? Why is my family murdered? It answers the why. Why? Okay. So that's what it's about. I don't, I have no dog in the hunt. HCC went to a barbecue one day. Oh my gosh, she just told it on her live and I was dying laughing. Kay was over there. I hope it had potato salad. I do need to share that picture of Lauren eating potato salad in Boise last year. Right. Charles's history deserves to reflect that he was murdered. 100% support Lori and Chad, and all the cultets need to be held accountable for their part of the conspiracy to unalive Charles. Oh, so how many of you guys, thank you, Jean. How many of y'all think that we watched the whole press conference yesterday too, afterwards? And everybody was just like, something's amiss here. Something, and there was. It's like you couldn't pinpoint it, but something wasn't right. It's like something was not said. And I mean, there's that part where Rob Wood is like, well, should I tell him or should I wait? And I'm like, oh my God, is this Arizona? Are you about to say Arizona? Like, I don't know. I just still need time to process it all. But tomorrow's Monday. I wonder. And I don't want to get like my expectations up either, because I don't want to be disappointed. But if I do get disappointed, it's my own fault, because, it's just trying to figure out and read the tea leaves, so to speak, kind of like what's happened throughout Chad's trial. And I'm just like, you're not charged yet. But that cop right there, that Arizona detective just said, it's still ongoing. And I'm just like, ooh. Like, oh, gonna get you. I'm just saying. I hope and pray. Because, and then me and Jason have talked this out, and he's like, well, but Chad got the death penalty. I was like, and he can go back and they can impose it. Okay. But To me, justice for Charles and Brandon, full justice, is to have the other co-conspirator down there. Okay. Lindsay said it, I don't know how many damn times in her closing arguments, that Chad would rate the person dark. The body had to die. I was just like, beat it in. Okay. I was like, oh shit. Damn 7 gatherers, right? Right. And it's in the FOIA docs, this right here. The 7 gatherers. Plus Melanie Pulaski. Yeah. I'm telling you. Oh, and I don't remember though. When I was looking through the Gilbert documents, and I've been looking through the FOIA docs forever, but the Gilbert FOIA docs too. And I was like, oh my God, I can see where it's just certain things that are said. It's how Melanie Pulaski actually hindered Charles and Brandon from talking. Okay. From January 31st, 2019, which is the first body cam footage we see of Uncle Charles trying to break into his own house, asking the cop if he could break into his own house that he was locked out of. His truck was moved. It was gone. Everything was gone. Right. And anyway, so you can just kind of pick up in the language. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to try. I'm suck at, like, I'm not one of those people that's like, okay, I'm going to leave like a cliffhanger or anything. We all know the outcome. I mean, for real. But I saw that one day and I was like, oh my God, I really think this is how, not only that, but she was the one that was one of the only people that had that address, but then her and Alex sent Melanie Gibb. Okay. Snoop. And to go see where Brandon was. And I mean, again, Melanie Gibb is a piece of shit. You can tell everybody that I said that. Melanie Gibb, you're a piece of shit. Okay. Karma is coming for you, girl. Anyways, tell your husband. So, I mean, the secrets, it's not a secret. Anybody with eyes and ears and half a brain of common sense can tell that they're assholes. So, he wouldn't have made it. he wouldn't make it. Now he's not going to be in General Pop. Kind of aggravated about that. Yeah. TC said, I was reading about the prison in Idaho, and really so many dangerous things happen in that prison. I was hoping Chad wouldn't be so protected in Max DP area. Exactly. Yeah. And then again, go down to Arizona, Mm-hmm. Oh, Bubba, and dropping the soap. He might want to get some liquid soap. Just saying. That's gross. Not other things came to my mind for that one. Okay. But anyways, all right, y'all. It was real. I'm so glad I got to talk to y'all though. I'm glad. And I miss you guys already. Again, I'll try and maybe schedule one for Wednesday, unless there's something that comes down the pike tomorrow or anytime in between about Arizona. Please. Right. So that lady and what lady? Oh, Melanie Gibb. Yeah. Yeah. I think that'll reveal more as this goes on. So it's interesting to see like Summer, like, because I mean, I can't just blame East Idaho News for wanting to interview her, but I can blame Summer. And I'm just like, you don't get to tell Lori, and just because the cop kind of, that wrote the report, kind of half-assed took up for you a little bit, Summer, about, do you want me to go kill him myself? Talking about my Uncle Charles. But the cop says it was not clear who Summer was talking about. Yeah, it was. Pretty clear, loud and clear. So she don't get to pick and choose. And where I come from, she don't get to pick and choose of who's going to get murdered and who's not. But because the kids got murdered, she had the heart-wrenching cry that everybody heard, and now everybody feels sorry for you, because that's what happens too. Look at Tim Ballard. They use emotionalism to prey on people, and I don't fucking buy it. No, I'm sorry. I just said F word. I just did. I hope so. But anyways, all right. I love you guys. And, you know, just, we got some decoding to do. And there's plenty of work to do. I just had to kind of see it for myself. So, yeah. Oh, God. See, that's just fucking sickening, y'all. Oh. Okay, if and when this interview comes out, we'll go live and we'll dissect the shit out of it. Care to join me? All right, it's a date. Because, I mean, it's just a matter of where to find it now. All right. Justice for Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Joe. Not whitewashed, okay? Love always wins, and you guys are proof of this.